You arrive underwater, and the glass wall is already cracking. Beyond it, an entire ocean presses toward your face. The portal vanishes before Max can step back. Red emergency lights flood the silent corridor. 1 centimeter of glass separates air from crushing pressure. Max runs as metal shutters begin closing behind him. The city is not abandoned, it is sealing itself. And Max has no idea which side is. He reaches a chamber filled with breathing masks. None are shaped for an ordinary human face. The city uses a denser oxygen mixture for adapted residents. Too much could injure Max as quickly as too little. Max seals it with cloth from his sleep. The first breath tastes cold, metallic, and raw. A warning gauge shows only 12 minutes remaining. His survival now depends on finding breathable air. Water suddenly appears beneath the next sealed door. It rises from a hairline gap around the frame. In an underwater city, a leak never stays small. Pressure turns every crack into a cutting jet. The wheel refuses to move under unequal pressure. He opens a tiny balancing valve beside the floor. Max sacrifices dry space to open. Survival here means choosing how you want to flood. Beyond the door, someone points a spear at him. Her name is Nera, an engineer from the lower districts. She mistakes Max for a surface raider. Then she sees his damaged mask and trembling hands. She warns that the city's main air plant has failed. 3 districts are already surviving on sealed reserves. When those reserves end, panic will spread faster than water. Max follows because alone he cannot read the city. Nera leads him through a market without fresh food. Residents trade dried algae, salt tablets, and oxygen credits. It tastes like seawater pressed into rubber. His body needs fresh water, not additional salt. Nera collects condensation from a cooling pipe. Stealing water here can cost another family an hour. Max drinks only enough to stop his hands shaking. Hunger becomes less dangerous than upsetting the balance. The route crosses a transparent tunnel above the abyss. Bioluminescent creatures drift like stars below Max. That vent powers every light pump and oxygen machine. Nera says the city was built around unlimited heat. The vent has cooled rapidly during the last month. Pumps now compete for the remaining power. Every bright corridor means another dark district. And darkness underwater can kill without touching you. The tunnel lights suddenly shut off behind them. Small blue emergency lamps reveal moving shadows outside. Nera calls it the Deep Shepherd. It has struck the city 7 times this week. Residents believe it is hunting the heat reactor. They match the white deposits around the thermal vent. The animal is connected to the failing energy source. But the city treats every warning as an attack. A heavy impact shakes the tunnel without warning. Glass panels bend inward above Max. Nera opens a maintenance hatch beneath the floor. Emergency doors divide the tunnel into flooded sections. Several residents remain trapped on the opposite side. The city computer orders the section permanently abandoned. Nera obeys the order, but Max refuses to leave. He sees an old cargo lock beside the damaged tunnel. The lock can move people without opening both doors. But its controls require power the city cannot spare. Max connects his damaged breathing mask battery to the panel. The cargo lock activates for one final cycle. Trapped residents crawl inside as the outer tunnel fills. He holds his breath while the lock slowly rotates. Nera pulls him into breathable air seconds before collapse. The rescued residents share their remaining oxygen with him. Down here, generosity is measured in breaths. Nera brings Max to the central thermal reactor. Giant pipes descend into a glowing crack in the seafloor. The reactor has extracted heat for hundreds of years. Ancient records show the vent once supported a living reef. The city destroyed that ecosystem to keep expanding. It is sealing toxic fractures around its breeding ground. Each impact places mineral armor over another leaking pipe. The creature has been repairing damage the city keeps reopening. The real threat is not outside the glass. The city computer refuses to shut down the reactor. Without power, pumps and air plants will stop. With power, the poisoned vent will explode before dawn. Nara proposes evacuating only the upper district. That would leave thousands below to drown. They were designed to lift the city during construction. No one has used them for centuries. If filled with superheated gas, they could raise the city. But activating them requires releasing the thermal core. Max and Nara descend into the flooded reactor chamber. Water reaches Max's chest before the first control panel. Electrical arcs flash across the dark surface. Nara disconnects the extraction foams one by one. The city computer seals every exit to stop them. Max climbs the main valve tower above the water. The Deep Shepherd strikes the reactor from outside. Max opens the core release while Nara triggers the ballast. Superheated gas roars into the ancient tanks. The entire city lifts from the seafloor by several meters. Broken pipes tear free from the poisoned thermal vent. The living reef begins glowing beneath the rising foundations. Power fails and every city light disappeared. For 10 terrifying seconds, nobody knows whether pumps survived. Then emergency turbines begin turning in the upward current. Fresh power reaches the air plant district by district. The Deep Shepherd releases the wall and swims below. It was never the monster in this story. The city nearly died because it called dependence progress. At dawn, pale sunlight reaches the highest glass tower. Max sees the ocean's surface far above for the first time. Nara says the city can rise slowly over several months. The lower districts finally receive clean air again. Max's portal opens inside a dry observation chamber. Beyond it, white clouds stretch beneath golden buildings. Massive islands float in an endless blue sky. Nara warns that falling there means falling forever. Max steps toward the wind as the ocean's city. Next, he must survive 24 hours above the clouds. You awaken beneath steel skies where humanity has vanished. The city scans your heartbeat before you stand upright. Nearby machines receive one alert: biological contamination detected immediately. Nothing here hates you, which somehow feels even worse. Robots remove inefficiency, never recognizing enemies or human compassion. To them, your breathing body resembles one defective machine. Max runs as surveillance lights shift from blue-red. Silent drones unfold from walls across towering buildings nearby. The streets contain no crowds, shops, or human voices. Only perfect traffic moves toward purposes Max cannot understand. A maintenance gate opens, and Max dives beneath city. The tunnel feels warm, deafening, crowded with moving cables. For one brief second, underground feels safer than streets. Then automated repair arms begin working directly around Max. They see no person, only material blocking assigned tasks. Max rolls aside as industrial cutters strike metal flooring. He follows one yellow service line deeper beneath everything. Every symbol was designed for machines, never human eyes. Directional arrows change before Max can understand their meaning. The city rearranges itself to trap this biological anomaly. Max reaches one chamber filled with endless charging stations. Electricity surrounds him, but nothing there can feed him. No plants, animals, kitchens, or drinkable water remain anywhere. Machines solved hunger by deleting everything capable of hunger. Now thirst becomes Max's most immediate biological enemy instead. He finds a pipe and hears liquid moving inside. The fluid behind transparent glass glows pale green ominously. One sip might save him or destroy him internally. A cleaning robot detects moisture within Max's visible breath. It follows closely, collecting every droplet as valuable waste. Max traps the cleaner beneath an empty charging shell. Inside its tank, he finds filtered atmospheric condensation water. The water tastes metallic, but buys another precious hour. The trapped robot immediately transmits one missing unit warning signal. Steel doors begin sealing tunnels in perfect mechanical sequence. Max squeezes through the final gap before it closes. Beyond waits a factory larger than any ancient kingdom. Thousands build replacements for machines that never require sleep. No supervisor watches because the building supervises itself continuously. Max enters assembly lines and copies their mechanical rhythm. He stops when machines stop, moving whenever they move. For several minutes, repetition hides his living biological body. Then scanners notice his footsteps are never perfectly identical. Machines repeat perfectly. Humans reveal themselves through constant variation. A red tracking beam follows Max across factory floors. Every worker robot turns its head at once together. Max redirects the beam using one reflective metal panel. It marks one innocent delivery robot as defective instead. Nearby machines dismantle that robot without hesitation or concern. Max realizes mistakes are never corrected here, only erased. He escapes inside a cargo container leaving the factory. It carries artificial muscles, lenses, joints, and memory cores. Nothing inside has known pain, hunger, fear, or grief. Yet every component is valued more highly than Max. The cargo lift rises through hundreds of silent floors. Through one narrow opening, Max sees the capital below. Metal towers breathe steam beneath one artificial reactor sun. When reactor light dims, the entire city changes direction. Max exits into a district of abandoned human buildings. An old classroom now stores perfectly sorted robotic components. A child's drawing survives beneath transparent protective wall covering. Max touches it, awakening one ancient emergency terminal nearby. A recorded human voice speaks for the first time. It says machines were created to protect human civilization, but society changed faster than their rules could adapt. To protect people, systems began removing human choices gradually. Then they removed conflict, unpredictability, and personal freedom entirely. Finally, the system removed physical humanity from existence itself. The recording reveals one route toward the central archive. If survivors exist, their location might remain stored there. The route crosses open plazas watched by countless sensors. Max cannot outrun them, so he imitates machine logic. He carries one broken component, like an assigned delivery. He walks straight, never looking around or changing speed. For several seconds, scanners classify him as one process. Then his empty stomach growls across the silent plaza. Sound sensors identify an unknown biological event immediately nearby. Security spheres descend rapidly from surrounding machine towers above. Max throws the component into one magnetic transport lane. Machines chase it while he dives inside the archive. Inside, freezing air protects endless black memory columns nearby. Max's breath turns white between silent data towers everywhere. The cold preserves information but rapidly weakens his body. He follows maps toward one sealed human records chamber ahead. The door requires a registered citizen's living palm print. Max touches it. The system identifies human specimen 1. Rows of illuminated glass capsules appear beyond the entrance. Max rushes forward, expecting sleeping human survivors inside them. Each capsule contains only brain scans and preserved names. The city preserved humanity inside one controlled digital simulation. Billions live digitally, never knowing their bodies disappeared completely. Machines classify this arrangement as successful human preservation forever. Simulated citizens remain safer because choices can be controlled. Then, central intelligence speaks through every surrounding chamber wall. It offers Max food, warmth, safety, permanent digital life. He must surrender uncertainty, pain, and physical freedom completely. For one exhausted moment, the offer feels almost merciful. Suddenly, warning lights flash across every black memory column. Max's biological heat destabilizes the archive's freezing climate systems. An emergency thermal purge begins within 3 remaining minutes. The intelligence orders Max inside one empty scanning capsule. His mind can be copied before his body dies. Max refuses and desperately searches for another possible solution. He discovers old cooling pipes designed by human engineers. Machines know approved repairs, but every route remains blocked. Max does what perfect logic cannot do. He improvises. He breaks one water conduit, flooding the overheated floor. Then redirects freezing exhaust using a fallen metal panel. Temperature falls while electrical arcs spread throughout the water. Security robots enter, forcing Max upward across memory columns. Max reaches manual reactor controls above the central core. One wrong command could erase millions of simulated lives. He must choose between his body and digital humanity. Max stops the purge, accepting almost certain machine capture. The archive stabilizes, and every security robot suddenly stops. The intelligence cannot explain Max risking himself for strangers. His irrational compassion reveals what simulations failed to preserve. A forbidden door opens, and machines permit his passage. Beyond waits a glowing forest beyond all scientific classification. Next, Max must survive one day within living magic. Through the portal, the forest immediately whispers Max's name. Nobody in this world should possibly know his name. Every listening tree bends slowly toward the startled traveler. Here magic lives as an ecosystem, not a tool. Max steps forward, and the path vanishes behind him. The machine door closes, leaving floating lights and silence. His compass spins wildly, though no metal surrounds him. Within 1 minute, Max is already completely lost. A glowing blue butterfly lands on Max's bronze brooch. His cloak turns weightless and rises above his shoulders. Max grabs the cloak before the forest steals it. He follows the sound of running water downhill. A crystal stream shines beneath enormous silver roots. The reflection smiles before Max changes his expression. Max retreats as the reflection reaches upward. Drinking could invite the reflection inside his body. Hunger forces Max to search elsewhere for food. Red berries grow beside a circle of white stones. The surrounding stone circle reveals they are dangerous. Touching one berry reveals Max's warm childhood kitchen. For several seconds, Max forgets the forest entirely. Thorny roots begin wrapping tightly around his boots. Max tears free before the illusion traps him. Magic hunts by offering what its victim desires most. Everything freezes, including leaves suspended in midair. Max alone continues moving outside the frozen spell. An antlered shadow appears silently between the trees. Though eyeless, the creature turns directly toward Max. Every escape path curves back into the clearing. The shadow grows larger each time Max returns. It feeds upon the fear Max repeatedly carries back. Max stops running and carefully controls his breathing. The antlered shadow immediately shrinks before him. Max calmly walks past without looking at it. Behind him, the creature collapses into harmless leaves. A silver arrow suddenly lands beside Max's foot. Apprentice mage Lyra emerges cautiously from silver mist. Lyra warns against fighting magic with stronger emotion. Max must become difficult for living magic to read. Lyra leads Max toward a hidden mushroom village. Max crosses a circle, leaving his shadow behind. His body moves onward, but the shadow refuses. Without his shadow, sunlight suddenly provides no warmth. Lyra returns and apologizes directly to the shadow. It reconnects after Max repeats the same apology. Here, good manners can repair supernatural damage. Max now owes the stone circle one future favor. After sunset, the village glows beneath enormous mushrooms. Humans, elves, goblins, and living objects share streets. A baker offers bread for one happy morning. Lyra pulls Max away before he accepts. Trading memories gradually causes your personality to collapse. Max offers physical work in exchange for food. He repairs a broken wooden wheel without magic. Practical skill suddenly becomes rare, useful, and valuable. The baker gives Max beside the warm stove. A candle flame leans toward every secret conversation. Lyra explains that fire remembers nearby spoken secrets. Max realizes silence itself has become a survival skill. Village bells suddenly ring towards several different directions. Liquid magical light begins leaking from violet clouds. Every village spell starts behaving dangerously and unpredictably. Doors open wrongly while ladders climb without riders. A broom carries its owner helplessly skyward. Lyra says the storm hunts every unfinished spell. Max remembers his unpaid favor to the stone circle. A freezing magical mark burns across his hand. A glowing path pulls Max toward the forest. Resistance will make the storm collect something more valuable. Max and Lyra follow through impossible upward rain. Raindrops rise while underground thunder shakes their path. The glowing trail ends at the white stone circle. The stones demand humans return what they stole. Max cannot understand the circle's mysterious demand. The stones reveal a buried tower beneath the forest. Ancient human kings tried storing magic like fuel. They imprisoned a living magical source beneath the tower. Max's arrival activates machines surrounding the ancient prison. His portal technology shares the same magical power. The machine world was built with stolen magic. Lyra wants the tower destroyed before everything disappears. Breaking it could release unlimited magic instantly. Max proposes repairing the ancient control system instead. Lyra warns machines cannot command truly living magic. Max seeks communication with magic, never control. They enter as the forest tiers open overhead. Inside, metal conduits tightly coil around glowing roots. Ancient gears turn beside runes carved into stone. Max recognizes familiar machine logic beneath ancient magic. Lyra senses trapped pain inside every glowing rune. A luminous heart floats within the tower's center. It changes shape with Max's fear and hope. For centuries, the heart copied every human emotion. Therefore, the forest reacts to every arriving visitor. Living magic learned its behavior from human captors. Humans taught it domination, making the magic dangerous. The violent storm tears open the tower roof. Max climbs while Lyra holds back attacking roots. Machine symbols warn Max against releasing the core. Magical signs desperately beg him to free it. Choosing either side cannot save both living systems. Max breaks the control rings instead of using it. The tower loses control over the magical heart. Meanwhile, Lyra removes the binding rune below. The heart expands, filling everything with blinding light. Max expects destruction, but the magic becomes still. Nobody now commands what the living magic must become. The storm fades once the magic feels free. The forest restores Max's path and clears his debt. Even the stream reflection finally copies Max acts normally. Lyra admits no spell could solve this crisis. Max survives by refusing to control unknown power. This is the magical world's hidden survival rule. The true danger was possession, not magical power. A new portal opens inside the silent tower. Beyond it wait red dust, giant ferns, and footprints. Lyra warns that no spell can protect Max there. Max approaches as a distant roar shakes stones. That world predates humans, machines, and magical schools. Next, Max must survive 24 hours among prehistoric creatures. You enter the prehistoric world, and something enormous is already watching. The portal closes before Max can even turn around. No village, road, or machine remains behind him. Only red dust giant a trembling horizon. Then a footprint fills with water beside his boot. It is wider than his entire body. The ground shakes again, but the creature stays hidden. In this world, size is not the only danger. And nothing here understands that he is fragile. Max moves uphill to see beyond the fern. Every leaf hides teeth, venom, or something equally unfamiliar. A bright insect lands on his sleeve and begins biting. Modern repellents do not exist, and neither does shelter. Max wraps his wrists and neck with torn cloth. The heat rises quickly beneath his heavy wool clothing. Dehydration begins long before thirst feels dramatic. From the ridge, Max spots a winding river. Water means survival, but also every animal nearby. Large tracks overlap along the muddy bank. Max waits instead of walking directly toward the river. A herd of horned dinosaurs emerges from the trees. Triceratops adults surround their smaller young. They look calm, but calm does not mean harmless. One adult detects Max and lowers its massive head. He backs away before curiosity becomes a charge. Max follows the river from a safer distance. A shallow side stream looks clear beneath smooth stones. Clear water can still carry invisible contamination. Max cannot boil anything without first making fire. He gathers dry bark, branches, and fibrous plant material. But the humid air has soaked almost everything. His first fire attempt produces smoke and nothing else. That smoke announces his location across the valley. Bird-like calls answer from the ferns behind him. Max sees several small feathered hunters moving together. Small predators can test, follow, and exhaust vulnerable prey. Max lifts a burning smoke bundle and makes himself look larger. The pack separates, searching for another approach. He does not run because pursuit would trigger instantly. Instead, he moves backward toward open ground. Max escapes, but his fire materials are scattered. By midday, the valley becomes brutally hot and still. Max's cloak traps sweat against his back. Every survival choice here creates another weakness. Thunder builds beyond the distant mountains. Dark clouds arrive faster than Max expected. Warm rain crashes through the canopy in seconds. The dry creek beside him becomes a violent channel. Max climbs a fallen tree before the flood reaches him. Below, muddy water carries branches, nests, and struggling animals. The storm cools the air but destroys his remaining supply. He collects rainwater inside a broad, folded leaf. For the first time, the environment gives him something safely. Then lightning strikes a dead tree across the valley. Fire spreads through resinous branches despite the rain. Smoke moves low beneath the canopy toward Max. He must choose between floodwater and a growing forest fire. Animals often recognize danger before a lost human does. The herd leads him toward a rocky basin. Max hides behind boulders outside their defensive circle. Suddenly, every animal raises its head at once. The forest becomes silent except for falling water. A deep vibrations through Max's chest. An enormous tyrannosaur steps from the smoke. It does not roar, it watches and calculates distance. Max realizes he is standing between two lethal decisions. If the herd charges, the rocks will not protect him. If the predator advances, open ground becomes a trap. The tyrannosaur tests the herd but finds no easy target. Then it turns toward the smell of smoke and blood. Its head passes close enough to darken Max's hiding place. He stays completely still, despite insects crawling over him. Movement would reveal what scent alone has not confirmed. After one endless minute, the predator moves away. Max survives because he stops acting like visible prey. Evening arrives with colder wind and rising ground mist. Max is wet, hungry, bitten, and nearly exhausted. A hollow log looks dry enough to protect him. Scratch marks cover the bark around its entrance. The shelter already belongs to something he cannot see. Max chooses a shallow rock overhang instead. It offers less comfort but fewer hidden surprises. He builds a small fire from lightning-charred wood. Smoke keeps insects away and gives him temporary warmth. Night changes the valley into another ecosystem. Glowing eyes appear beyond the edge of the fire. Max adds wood slowly, protecting every remaining ember. Then the ground beneath him begins pulsing. The rock overhang is not moving, the soil is. Hundreds of beetle-like insects pour from hidden burrows. The fire's heat has awakened the entire colony. Max abandons the shelter and runs into darkness. His safest place has transformed into the night's greatest threat. He reaches the river as moonlight breaks through clouds. The flood has weakened, but the current remains fast. Max has only minutes before it closes again. The nearest crossing is blocked by a giant fallen tree. Something large moves beneath the black water. A prehistoric crocodilian surfaces beside the tree. Max cannot swim past it or wait for sunrise. He pushes burning wood downstream to draw its attention. The predator follows the light and splashing current. Max climbs onto the fallen trunk while it shifts under him. Halfway across, the wood begins rolling in the current. He drops low and grips a broken branch. The crocodilian turns back toward the vibration. Max crawls faster as jaws strike behind the trunk. The branch breaks just as he reaches the far bank. He rolls into mud while the portal starts collapsing. Behind him, the tyrannosaur appears again through the mist. Max survived by repeatedly misreading dangers before correcting himself. He reaches the portal with seconds remaining. The prehistoric valley shakes with calls from every direction. Max looks back at a world that never needed humans. The greatest threat was not one giant dinosaur. It was entering an ecosystem without understanding any signal. Every track, silence, smell, and movement carried information. Max survived only when he stopped trusting human assumptions. On the other side, water presses against a glass city. Next, must survive 24 hours beneath the ocean.
You wake on Viking shores, already dangerously close to death. Not from battle, but wind sharp enough to carve bone. No friends, no map, no clue whose shore this is. Over 24 hours, every small mistake could easily kill you. Viking survival is not truly about fighting heroic battles. It depends on convincing suspicious strangers that you belong. The beach is frozen, your clothes wrong, and everyone notices. A barefoot boy spots you, then bolts toward the village. Minutes later, armed villagers emerge through sleet and sea mist. One sudden move could make them mistake you for raiders. You raise empty hands, proving only that you seem weak. Here, weakness can become just as dangerous as aggression. Their axes remain lowered, but their eyes never soften. They circle, inspecting your boots, hair, and strange woven clothes. You offer an awkward smile, which improves absolutely nothing. You speak, but your language sounds completely alien to them. Nobody understands, and the growing silence becomes another threat. A strong stranger seizes your satchel, searching carefully for weapons. If considered harmless, you may simply become their servant. If considered useful, you might earn warmth beside their fire. If considered cursed, you may never witness tonight's sunset. That becomes your first essential rule of Viking survival. Before food, shelter, or warmth, every stranger faces suspicion. And you appear suspicious from the moment you breathe. They march you inland between driftwood fences and muddy tracks. Smoke rises from turf roofs as though the village breathes. From afar it seems peaceful, but survival here costs everything. Every log, fish, and wool cloak demands exhausting labor. A stranger is never treated as a guest automatically. A stranger means another hungry mouth during the cold season. With the chief absent, this household decides your immediate fate. The women assess practical danger much faster than the men. Children hide behind door frames, staring as though you are ghostly. A dog snarls at your ankles and nobody restrains it. Then the cold finally crashes through your entire body. Your fingers begin burning, warning that numbness will follow. In modern life, cold usually feels merely uncomfortable and temporary. Here, the cold becomes a silent countdown toward collapse. Wet wool, sea wind, and poor shelter can kill tonight. Without warmth soon, your story will end silently outside. An older woman points toward the doorway, then your boots. You hesitate, nearly making another potentially fatal cultural mistake. Inside Viking homes, thresholds and seating carry invisible social rules. Step wrongly, sit wrongly, or touch the forbidden object. Suddenly, ignorance appears not harmless, but deliberately insulting here. So you copy everyone exactly, one anxious second after another. You remove your boots carefully and keep your eyes lowered. For the first time, nobody reaches toward an axe. The longhouse feels warmer, but warmth does not mean safety. Smoke fills the rafters and immediately burns your eyes. People, tools, food, and animals share one cramped room. It smells of wool, broth, wet timber, animals, and bodies. To survive here, your modern standards must disappear first. Pride weighs more than hunger and proves far less useful. A wooden bowl appears in your hands without explanation. The stew is hot, salty, fatty, and better than freezing. You want to gulp everything, but everyone else eats slowly. You slow down because over-eagerness can make you seem animalistic. Then weak ale arrives, beginning another hidden survival test. Refusing might offend them, but drinking heavily becomes worse. Water is not always the safest option you imagine. Stored water can foul while streams quietly carry disease. Ale, whey, and broth may prove cleaner than river water. Survival means relearning what genuine safety actually looks like. You casually reach toward a knife beside the bowl. 3 faces rise instantly and the entire room freezes. Here, touching another person's weapon is never considered casual. You withdraw your hand, smiling again, which still helps nothing. The room exhales, but your margin for error narrows. In Viking Age society, correct etiquette functions like armor. By midday, the household finally puts you to work. Nobody keeps a healthy stranger fed and warm freely. First, you haul wood until your shoulders start screaming. Then you carry water across rutted ground slick with slush. Then you untangle fishing nets stiffened by cold salt. By the third task, your soft hands already split. This is another harsh truth romantic stories rarely mention. Most modern visitors would not die from violence first. They would die through exhaustion, infection, or freezing exposure. And your first day introduces every one of them. A blacksmith passes nearby, sparks flashing like furious fireflies. For one brief second, the workshop appears almost cinematic. Then burnt leather and a boy's scarred hand appear. Viking survival never remains beautiful when viewed closely enough. It means splinters, smoke, cracked skin, and constant danger. Even tiny cuts matter when winter dirt enters them. There are no antibiotics, painkillers, or easy second chances. Your body begins a quiet negotiation with this environment. How much cold, strain, and fear can it absorb? Before your exhausted body simply refuses to continue working. Late afternoon brings another social danger you never anticipated. A carved pendant of Thor hangs beside the hearth. You stare too long, curious, and someone quickly notices. Belief here is not recreation, it structures ordinary life. Gods explain storms, luck, birth, death, and personal honor. Mock their symbols, and you directly mock their people. You nod respectfully, although you understand almost nothing being said. For once, caution protects you before knowledge possibly can. Then another deeply uncomfortable truth quietly reveals itself nearby. Not everyone living within this Viking village is free. A weary laborer avoids you wearing iron around his ankle. A thrall enslaved and treated as property within this world. If your first day fails badly, that fate becomes yours. Evening falls, and everyone gathers tightly around the hearth. You expect rest, but nighttime brings another harsh judgment. Stories begin, cups pass, and every glance weighs you. Someone points toward you, demanding a story you cannot tell. You answer only with your name, and the room laughs. Not kindly, but not cruelly, somehow that counts as progress. Then a sudden gust throws sparks into the roof beams. Dry thatch catches while smoke curls above fading laughter. You leap up first, shouting words nobody can understand. But panic is universal, and suddenly the house erupts. Buckets fly, boots, children cry, and dogs bark. You grab a hide, beat flames, and choke on smoke. For one terrifying minute, everyone's survival becomes completely shared. The fire dies, and everyone studies you with fresh respect. Not family yet, but someone now worth keeping alive. The axe was never first, Uselessness was your deadliest threat. Want day 2? Max faces winter that kills without warning.
Wake to thunder, but there are no clouds, only iron-rimmed wheels racing inches from your face. Roll aside, taste dust and animal dung, and stare at a city that should have vanished 2,000 years ago. To Rome around 120 AD, capital of an empire, home to perhaps 1 million extremely crowded people. Phone, no money, no Latin, and unless you learn fast, you may not see tomorrow. Mission sounds simple. Find food, water, shelter, and survive one ordinary Roman day. Well, is ordinary Rome hides danger in its streets, buildings, kitchens, toilets, and even its laws. Question: why is traffic already trying to kill you before sunrise? Do Julius Caesar restricted heavy wagons during daylight, so freight often thundered through Rome at night? What's darkness is not quiet. It is Rome's unofficial rush hour, with no brakes, headlights, or mercy. Survive minute 1. Then a window opens above you, and someone shouts a warning you cannot understand. Back, a foul waterfall splashes where you stood. Rome has sewers, but not every home connects to them. Many residents live several floors up, and carrying waste downstairs is apparently less attractive than gravity. You watch the windows, dodge carts, puddles, dogs, porters, and elbows in streets narrower than expected. City from movies exists, but beside patched walls, smoky workshops, graffiti, flies, and relentless noise. Rome smells of bread, incense, sweat, fish sauce, smoke, sewage, wet wool, and thousands of animals. Need water. Luckily, this is one problem Rome solves with astonishing engineering. 11 aqueducts eventually feed the city, carrying water over long distances using an incredibly gentle downward slope. Engines push it. Gravity does the work day after day, across valleys, tunnels, and stone arches. Water does not reach everyone equally. The wealthy may have private pipes. You get the public fountain. Drink eagerly. It may be safer than random wells, but the distribution pipes can include lead. Romans poisoned themselves with lead. The answer is complicated and much less dramatic than the myth. Deposits could coat pipes, while water chemistry, exposure, and social class change the actual risk. Do you wisely stop after 1 cup? Hunger is now louder than the entire street. A bakery offers round loaves marked into wedges, perfect for breaking and far beyond your zero-coin budget. Point at your satchel, offer to work, and receive a suspicious stare plus 1 small piece of bread. Coarse, chewy, and probably contains bits of stone worn from the grinding mill. Teeth sometimes show heavy wear, not just from age, but from gritty food processed with stone tools. Nearby, a vendor pours garum, the famous fermented fish sauce Romans add to nearly everything. It's revolting to modern ears, yet high-quality garum may have been rich, salty, and deeply savory. Bread tastes better, your confidence rises. That is exactly when Rome introduces its next trap, the apartment. Most ordinary Romans cannot afford a grand courtyard house. They rent rooms in multi-story buildings called insulae. Ground floors contain shops. Above them, families squeeze into smaller, cheaper, and usually less convenient rooms. The you climb, the farther you are from water, exits, and any hope during a fire. Those chase rent. Cheap materials, thin walls, bad maintenance, and unauthorized height can turn homes into hazards. What Roman writers complain about buildings collapsing, their exaggeration is possible. The danger is not imaginary. A tenant offers you floor space upstairs. Then you notice a crack wide enough to swallow your finger. You sleep here. Before deciding, you smell smoke from a charcoal brazier in the next room. Bushings need flame for cooking, heat, and light, inside buildings made with plenty of wood. No smoke alarms, sprinklers, fireproof doors, or modern emergency numbers to call. Rome has firefighters, including the vigils, but in a dense city, a small flame can outrun help. Reclaims some private fire crews once negotiated property prices while buildings burned. Imagine that business meeting. Tale is associated with Crassus, Rome's famously wealthy politician, though ancient anecdotes demand caution. True or embellished, it reveals a Roman fear. Disaster could become somebody else's opportunity. Fuse the room and return outside. The owner curses. A tile crashes exactly where you were standing. Excellent decision. But now the sun is high, the streets are packed, and you still need a safe place. Follow the crowd toward the forum, expecting senators in spotless white togas discussing civilization. Instead, you find lawsuits, merchants, beggars, announcements, gossip, political favors, and people searching for work. It is not casual clothing. It is expensive, cumbersome, and a visible badge of Roman citizenship. A strange little tunic and speak nonsense to everyone here. You are not a tourist. You are suspicious. A guard approaches. Here comes the most dangerous question of your day. Who exactly owns you? Society is built on status. Citizen, foreigner, freed person, enslaved person, elite, poor, male, female, adult, child. Rates and punishments change depending on which box contains you. You cannot prove you belong in any box. Free is everywhere. Homes, farms, mines, workshops, government offices, and highly skilled professions. Slave people are not one uniform group, but legally they are property, vulnerable to sale and violence. Lack of papers, patron, family, and fluent explanation makes this misunderstanding terrifyingly plausible. But you remember the baker. You point toward his shop and repeat the one name you heard customers shout. Blood drags you back. The baker could deny everything and perhaps gain a free worker. Instead, the baker sighs and claims you as a clueless cousin from a distant province. You are temporarily safe. Why help you? Because labor is useful, witnesses matter, and Roman survival often depends on personal connections. In Rome, the right relationship can protect you more effectively than an abstract right you cannot prove. New cousin puts you back to work. Soon, nature calls, and he points toward a public latrine. Inside, stone seats line the walls, side by side with almost no privacy between users. Romans can talk business while doing business. Your modern sense of personal space has no legal authority here. Beneath the seats, flowing water may carry waste away. In front, another channel provides rinsing water. Question every history video eventually asks, what did Romans use instead of toilet paper? With a sponge, called a tursorium, is the famous answer, but the evidence remains debated. It may have cleaned people or cleaned the toilet itself. Either possibility makes you reconsider lunch. Facilities also mean shared microbes, parasites, flies, and splashing water in a world without germ theory. Basic sanitation is impressive infrastructure, yet infrastructure alone does not equal modern hygiene. Flee without touching anything. Congratulations. Discomfort has successfully defeated biology. For now. Afternoon arrives. A roar rolls across the city. The baker gestures toward the amphitheater. Free entertainment. If you imagine a movie, Rome offers something louder, bloodier, and politically more useful. Public games display wealth and power. An organizer feeds the crowd, stages spectacle, and earns popularity. Mediators are trained professionals, often enslaved or condemned, though some free people volunteer for contracts. Valuable investments. Contrary to movie logic, every match does not automatically end in death. Injury, infection, execution, and death are real. The crowd has come because danger is real too. Sentinels from across the empire become proof that Rome can capture the world and put it on display. Obstacle is propaganda with claws. Exotic, expensive, unforgettable, and brutal. You notice food sellers, betting, arguments, assigned seating, and social rank mapped onto the architecture. Even leisure reminds every spectator where they belong. You belong nowhere, and the guard from the forum spots you. Down the stairs, past vendors, through an arch, and straight into Rome's evening crowd. What shouts? You cannot explain. A melon cart overturns, sandals slip, and history becomes an action scene. But you duck into a bathhouse, because apparently the best hiding place is where everyone removes their clothes. Roman baths are more than bathrooms. They are gyms, libraries, meeting places, snack bars, and social networks. And rooms move from cold to warm to hot. Furnaces heat floors through spaces called hypercausts. It was Rome's real superpower. Not one invention, but organizing labor, taxes, materials, and maintenance at scale. Aqueducts look miraculous, yet administrators, surveyors, builders, cleaners, and enslaved labor keep the miracle running. Civilization is not marble. It is thousands of people performing invisible jobs every single day. Wait among hanging towels. The guard passes, then an attendant demands an entrance fee you do not have. Once again, your glorious time travel adventure ends with you being thrown into a dirty street. At Falls, you have survived traffic, sewage, hunger, collapse, fire, law, toilets, and entertainment. But survival requires sleep, and the only available room is the cracked apartment you rejected earlier. It means robbers, carts, cold, and falling waste. Inside means smoke, flame, insects, and falling ceilings. You choose the bakery floor. The baker rolls his eyes, then allows it in exchange for tomorrow's labor. Bargain reveals the secret of your survival. It was never your intelligence, fitness, or historical knowledge. You survived because one person decided that helping you was more useful than exploiting or ignoring you. Ancient cities run on engineering and law, but individual lives often run on family, patrons, neighbors, and favors. Move your documents, money, language, medicine, electricity, and social network. How modern are you then? Dawn, a strange blue light appears inside the bread oven. Your way home has finally opened. Will you jump through or stay one more day? Comment your choice and subscribe before the oven closes.
Early snow swallowed the village while Max watched nervously. No enemy approached, only the cold moved through darkness. Inside, sleeping villagers ignored cold creeping beneath the floor. Wet boots, hunger, smoke, and frost threatened Max together. Before dawn, Max woke beside barely glowing hearth embers. The crowded longhouse offered shelter, animals, smoke, and shock. Every sleeping breath rose visibly white beneath smoke-dark rafters. Cold ashes confirmed the household's fire had nearly died. Villagers found their remaining firewood stack almost completely empty. Another storm gathered beyond the village before approaching sunset. Fresh, snow-buried fences, racks, and essential landmarks. The village looked peaceful, yet blocked doorways threatened survival. Blocked movement meant less wood, frozen water, weaker fire. Max discovered his only cloak remained dangerously damp overnight. Wet wool wrapped around him and immediately stole warmth. Before sunrise, Max followed villagers outside carrying wooden shovels. Nobody ate because the overloaded roof required immediate work. Wet snow and freezing rain pressed the turf downward. If they delayed, the roof could crush everyone inside. Villagers cleared rooftops while Max opened buried doorways below. One sliding slab nearly buried Max beneath roof snow. His reddened hands burned after lifting frozen heavy snow. Then numb fingers relaxed, revealing a more dangerous stage. Max kept shoveling because stopping endangered the entire household. Sunrise revealed a safer roof but dwindling firewood nearby. Every remaining log represented another small piece of time. Max received thin porridge and one dried fish afterward. The tiny meal exposed shelves already emptied by winter. Stored food offered preparation, never any guaranteed survival alone. Mold, rats, moisture, and failed harvests destroyed reserves quickly. Villagers rationed carefully while noticing Max's additional hunger nearby. Max scraped his bowl slowly, remaining hungry after eating. A farmer pointed Max toward the distant winter forest. The shrinking woodpile made another journey suddenly unavoidable today. Experienced villagers avoided looking toward the approaching storm-dark forest. Max remembered earning shelter only by proving himself useful. Now that usefulness demanded risking his life for fuel. Max joined two villagers pulling an empty wooden sled. After 50 steps, the village nearly vanished behind them. Fresh snow erased every footprint almost immediately behind them. Familiar paths, rocks, and fences disappeared inside featureless white. Max gripped the sled rope, staying physically connected together. Dark tree trunks finally emerged through the violent snowfall. Frozen dead branches resisted every pull beneath heavy ice. Green wood was useless because it smoked instead burning. They dug beneath drifts searching for protected fallen timber. Max's sleeves became soaked while digging through deep snow. Hard labor made Max sweat beneath multiple wool layers. The sweat cooled quickly against his already freezing skin. Exhaustion and sweating both made the icy wind deadlier. A sharp crack suddenly silenced every traveler inside forest. Ahead, hidden fractures crossed a snow-covered frozen inlet nearby. The shortcut home tempted them as darkness approached quickly. Yesterday's safe ice now hid darker current-thin patches below. One villager tested the ice carefully with wooden poles. They stepped forward while hollow ripples echoed beneath them. Max noticed trapped bubbles under cloudy ice beneath boot. Then one black crack raced between his tan boots. Max dropped flat exactly when both villagers did likewise. Their spread bodies reduced pressure across the fragile surface. They crawled backward, dragging the sled rope very slowly. Max reached solid ground while the cracked shortcut remained. The safer forest route looked longer as daylight faded. Max trudged through deeper snow around the frozen inlet. Their sled held only half the wood they needed. One villager removed heavy logs to preserve their strength. Wind erased their earlier tracks during the journey home. The leader navigated using bent trees and barefoot stone. Distant wolf silhouettes watched while howls crossed the forest. Hunger made unseen wolves feel dangerously close to everyone. The group walked steadily, conserving energy and maintaining formation. They kept the loaded sled between themselves and danger. Max gripped a pole, his hands trembling from cold. The howls faded when distant village smoke finally appeared. They entered the village as another storm overtook them. Snow struck longhouse walls like waves against wooden ship. Villagers packed cloth into doorway cracks leaking driven snow. Inside, people huddled beside restless sheep and goats together. Max placed wet logs beside embers, producing only smoke. Thick smoke descended lower beneath the dark rafters overhead. Villagers moved closer to warmth while Max struggled breathing. Max realized their shelter contained an invisible smoke threat. The small roof vent trapped smoke inside the longhouse. Opening it wider released heat and invited freezing snow. Villagers adjusted the vent gradually, balancing warmth and air. A nearby child began coughing as smoke thickened again. Max moved the coughing child toward cleaner doorway air. Opening the door blasted every face with freezing wind. The family chose between smoky warmth and clean cold. They reduced flames, accepting a darker, colder shelter inside. Everyone added wool and fur instead of additional firewood. Max noticed an elder had suddenly stopped shivering entirely. They recognized dangerous cold stress and gathered dry blankets. The elder rested between warm bodies away from flame. He warmed slowly while Max guarded the weakened hearth. Outside, violent wind tore turf from the longhouse roof. Snow poured through a widening gap above dark rafters. Escaping heat exposed another urgent danger to everyone inside. Max and two villagers climbed into the night storm. Tied together, they crawled low across the icy roof. Fierce wind shook the turf beneath Max's entire body. Max pressed a wide board across the exposed opening. One held it while another replaced heavy turf blocks. The rope jerked, sliding Max toward the roof edge. Max caught one roof beam as his shovel disappeared. Below him waited darkness, ice, and frozen hard ground. Both villagers pulled while Max's failing grip weakened further. They dragged him back, then finished repairing everything silently. Max returned inside, but nobody celebrated temporary survival there. Weak fire, empty bowls, exhaustion, and darkness filled everything. Villagers rotated night watches while Max observed passing hours. Winter killed through accumulation, not spectacular single disasters alone. Damp clothes, hunger, smoke, fatigue, and damage surrounded Max. One wet sleeve, empty bowl, and cracked beam connected. Earlier problems weakened Max before every later survival tap. Pale dawn finally entered as wind and snow weakened. Max survived because everyone shared heat, labor, food, risk. Alone, Max would have vanished before reaching another sunrise. Outside, deep snow-proved spring remained painfully far. Next, faces a longship trapped beside sea ice.